Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Toon Review for Thursday's morning news. My name is Paul. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you do enjoy today's video, as usual, please hit the thumbs up and, of course, subscribe if you are new to the channel and you like what you see. We are live at the moment twice a day, possibly going to 3 times a day later on. But at the moment, definitely twice a day, and we cover all Newcastle United games on live commentary, etc. So please do subscribe. You can support the channel in the usual 2 ways throughout the show, of course. Memberships are available if you hit that join button just underneath myself, and of course super chats, which is the $sign underneath the live chat, and that also guarantees your comment to be read out live on the show. And finally, a massive thank you to Mamaroo Records for their continuation of sponsoring the channel, based in Whitley Bay. For all your music needs, you can head in and see Steve, and if you mention you're a TTR viewer, he will do you a cracking deal on music, so vinyls, CDs, music merch, sport merch, gift cards. They've got it all. If you can't get into Whitley Bay, they do have an online shop, which is pinned right at the top of our description. So please do support Mamaroo Records, and thank you again for the continued sponsorship. Right, a few things to get through this morning, because as usual, as soon as you get out of bed now on a morning, there is Newcastle United news. There is news all over the football world, etc. But what I wanted to have a look at this morning, first of all, is Newcastle United and the month of February, because I feel, and I don't know how you guys feel out there, that this month is going to very much define our season. We've got some huge games coming up, and games that will absolutely define where we are, certainly for me, at the end of the season, because we've got cup games, we've got important league games, and it's a very busy month. A very, very busy month with some huge fixtures. Now, many people might look at February and say, right, well, given the fixtures that we have, then surely it's important for Newcastle United to go out and get somebody in this transfer window. We'll talk about the latest transfer rumours after this segment. But when you look at the games coming up, it makes it even more so that Newcastle United surely have to bring at least one person in to help us through certainly what will be a very difficult month for the players, because fitness, etc., is going to be vitally important for me, excuse me, as a fan going into this month. So like I say, I wanted to take a look at the fixtures with you. Now, obviously, on Saturday, we take on Fulham, Saturday the 1st of February. Special day for me because it's my birthday, but I really do fully expect us to get 3 points against Fulham. I think we're playing well enough to do that now, and certainly Fulham, they're in an on and off side, I think, this season, aren't they, Fulham? You don't know what you're going to get with them. One minute they'll perform brilliantly and get a great result. The next minute they're getting beat by a team maybe you'd expect Fulham to do a bit better against. So there's a lot of stuff like that goes on with these kind of fixtures. You know, people mention, oh, it's a potential banana skin again. But you know, we've had another good week of training and getting ready for this game, and I genuinely believe that that we do win the game. But it's after the Fulham game for me that, like I say, is going to define our season. Because after that, we have, of course, Arsenal a few days later on Wednesday at St James's Park in the second leg of the Carabao Cup. A massive, massive game. But just one comment just caught my eye there. Sorry. Stephen says, Paul and family do a team receive extra cash for playing English players in their team. Almost clubs now play overseas players and don't carry English players on their bench. If not, why not? I mean, Spider-Mate, that's opening a can of worms about certainly English players and things like that. I'm not sure they get any additional money for playing them. I think it's up to the team, you know, how they play. They do have to have a certain number of homegrown players within the squad. But the starting 11, you know, I don't really think that, that there's anything in there. However, like I say, Arsenal at home is a huge game. And given the sort of, I guess it's a rivalry now, isn't it, with Arsenal? Because they've made such a big stink of games against us in the past. You know, you look at was the ball out or in conversation. They can't get their heads around the fact that we've got the better of them of late. And they really hate that. And I don't think anybody expected us to come away from the Emirates with a 2-0 lead going into the second leg. I think Newcastle will see this as an opportunity now to make the final of the Carabao Cup. And I'd be very surprised if we didn't. What we need to avoid is a Bournemouth display at St James's Park. And then obviously we can then move on and hopefully plan a trip to Wembley. David says, I'm going to Wednesday's game, 500-mile round trip, really excited. Not easy to get tickets, but Ballard came good this time. I think this is massive. If we lose this, look at the remaining fixtures and you won't believe you will win more than 8 games. Win it and we are a knife buffer. Exactly. And I think this is the way forward now, isn't it? It's Saturday's game against Fulham. Let's use that as a real confidence booster to go into the Arsenal game. 2 home games, very close together. One of them have got, excuse me, I don't know what's going on with my cough this morning. One of them under the lights to James's Park. And we all know what the last semi-final was like, the second leg. It was an incredible atmosphere at St James's. The place was absolutely bouncing. And I believe that we will progress. I believe they will turn up and win the game. I think Arsenal, they've got this little bug inside them, haven't they, with Newcastle United? So they will try and do something, but I can't see it. I'm really confident, actually. And, I mean, ask me after the Fulham game if I'm still as confident, but at the moment I am. Now, after the Arsenal game, it sees us then go to St Andrews in the FA Cup. 4th round at, obviously, playing Birmingham City. Now, I imagine Eddie will make a couple of changes, but I don't think we'll see the amount of changes that he made in the last FA Cup game. Obviously, taking on a lowly League 2 side like Bromley. Birmingham City, fair enough, they're League 1, but they're having a good season. But I genuinely believe that Newcastle won't make as many changes. And he'll play quite a few first-teamers in that game because it's important. It's important to keep the run going. If we get results against Fulham and Arsenal, the whole squad is going to be bouncing. So I really do think Birmingham, we play a very strong side and get the job done. Nathan says, Paul, what do you think of the plan for right-wing cover as if we don't bring anyone in, Murphy and Barnes? Nathan, I don't know, mate, to be honest. I really can't read what Eddie Howe is thinking at the minute. I just hope that we do bring somebody else in on the right-hand side. That's all I can hope for at the moment. We'll see what happens. John says, I think Arsenal will come at us and that will give us chances. I think we win 2-1. Well, they've got to, haven't they? They've got to at some point. They're 2 goals down. They have to try and start the game really quick. But at the same time, they have to be careful because they know how ruthless we are on the counter-attack. And I think that plays into our hands. And I think that's why we win the game. Exactly that. The thing is, Paul, we have our best chance as if we score 1, they've got to score 4. Yeah, absolutely. It's all against Arsenal, really. So, yeah, we go to Birmingham, and I'm pretty confident for that one. Then the next 3 fixtures are what we call season-defining for me. Saturday the 15th, we go to the Etihad, 3 o'clock kickoff. That is a game. Man City, for me, are just starting to rev the engines a little bit after a really, really bad run this season. They haven't been the normal selves at all. So you look at the Manchester City game and you think, that's a tough one. That's a real tough game. But what we do have is a week's break from the FA Cup game up until that game at the Etihad. So, we get a bit of time off to recuperate, recharge the batteries, and go again at Manchester City. But like I said, they've just started a little bit to turn the corner. Not a full pelt by any stretch of the imagination. Sunday, the week after, we then take on Nottingham Forest at St James's Park. Now, Forest are flying this season. Forget the result against Bournemouth because everyone can have an off day against Bournemouth, as we proved the other week. But this is a big, big game. Huge game. Forest will come with a lot of confidence. We, as usual, at home, will have a lot of confidence as well. It's going to be a tight game, but it's going to be a really difficult game. But again, I think a game we can come through. We went down there and won the game well. We could do that again at St James's Park. And then a few days later, on the Wednesday night, we go to Anfield with a 8:15 kickoff. 8:15 on a Wednesday night. I mean, come on. Jesus, never mind. Again, another huge game against, for me, the champions elect. I think Liverpool are going to win the league this season. So those 3 games against Man City, Forest, and Liverpool, all 3 of those in a row, are season defining for me. It will tell us where we are as a team and as a club, and if we have a genuine chance of Champions League. Because if we finish in February, with some decent points. I mean, anybody would say go to Liverpool and get a draw. That would be great for us. Beat Forest at home. Manchester City away, you just don't know, because you don't know what Man City are going to be like. Have they really turned a corner, or have they not? And Newcastle can still go there and win the game. So that's why I'm calling it season defining, because if we come out of those 3 games avoiding defeat, and I would hope that we beat Forest at home, but the City and Liverpool games away from home, if we can come out of those with no defeats, I really genuinely think that we will finish in the Champions League spots. But you know what it is? It's all down to, how fit the squad will be. Do we pick up any injuries and suspensions along the way? Because they are going to be a massive factor, especially if we don't bring any players in this transfer window. If there's none come in, for me, that really shifts the problem over to fitness. And there's like I say, a lot of games in February where you would expect him to rotate a little bit against Birmingham, not too much though, because he couldn't take a risk of being knocked out of the FA Cup, because we want to win everything. We want to stay in the tournaments. We want cups. We want Champions League. We want to move up the league. But the squad for me, certainly not big enough as it is. But you just have to hope that we don't get injuries. And this is what makes the yellow cards very important for me, is that we don't go out and get silly yellow cards. We've seen Joelinton do it in a couple of games now, where he's kind of lost his head a little bit, and he's got bookings that really he shouldn't have taken if he'd been a bit more disciplined. But on the flip side of that, you don't want to take Joelinton's game away from him. You want him to be that physical presence that sort of frees up the likes of Bruno, etc., to do what they do. And Joelinton is that sort of strong physical figure. So he is going to pick up yellow cards, but it's the stupid ones, really. That when he just sort of loses his head a little bit, he gets a bit frustrated with what's going on the pitch, and he takes a silly booking. We have to try and avoid that somewhere along the way. But whether he can or not is a different kettle of fish. And does Eddie rest him in certain games? I don't know. Philip says with the right attitude, we could possibly win the 3 games. Well, yes, I mean, we can. If we turn up in all 3 games, we know we can win them. We know we can beat Man City. We drew against Liverpool at home in a brilliant game, but we give them a run for the money. And certainly Forest, we beat them away. Why can't we beat them at home? But football's strange like that sometimes, isn't it? It doesn't always work that way. Battleaxe says, so you think with Miggy gone, it's time for Barnes to get a start down the left and Gordon right, but who comes on as sub for Gordon? I don't think he changes Gordon to the right. I honestly don't. I think he's tried that this season. It hasn't worked. There was one good thing came from Gordon on the right, and that was the cross he put in against Arsenal for Isak's header. But apart from that, guys, Gordon needs to stay where he is. Gordon's in his natural position now and playing very, very well in that natural position. We don't want to rock the boat and start playing players out of position again. We know what happens with that. We know that players dip in form and they lose confidence when you do that. So I think Gordon needs to play there. Harvey Barnes, I think, could back up Jacob Murphy on the right, but he can also play left if anything happened to Barnes. So we do have, Gordon. So Barnes to come back would be important for the squad. Callum Wilson coming back, whatever you think of Callum Wilson, if he stays fit, he can help the squad without a shadow of a doubt. And even to the point where if Gordon's tired, he can shift Isak out there and move, bring on Wilson through the middle. We've seen that before, and Isak's played that role before. So there is possibilities, but I genuinely think we need to bring somebody in. I honestly do. I think one player at least to strengthen this squad. Martin says, would you take a win against Liverpool in the league or the cup final? Both. I wouldn't rather anything. I'd just rather both. Obviously, the cup final, I mean, you want to win a cup. You know, we haven't won one for so bloody long. We want to win a trophy. That elusive trophy, that big sort of cloud over our heads that everybody keeps mentioning, well, you haven't won anything since blah, blah, blah. You know, to get that monkey off our back would be incredible. But why not do it? Why not do it in both games? We've certainly, you know, if we're at full pelt, then we've got the side to do it. David says, tolerate Barnes as right cover. Gordon best on the left, and we don't get enough from him when he does. Kevin says, agree, Phil. There's no reason why we can't and shouldn't be looking to win all of them. We won't sign anyone. Business never gets done over the weekend, and we never sign anyone on deadline day. Joel, you just never say never. I mean, look, you're right, but you can't ever say no. There's a possibility. And Eddie said that in his press conferences. If the chance arrives to bring somebody in, Newcastle will do so. They'll have done the due diligence on the players that they are certainly targeting, and we'll hopefully get them through the door. Yes, Barnes is injured at the minute, but he will come back. Troll says, we have old centre-backs, so I think this is a factor in why they lose focus sometimes. That would probably be a worry against the Man Cities and Liverpool's. Certainly Liverpool's pace of their front three. You know, yes, we've got good full-backs with good pace in Livramento and Lewis Hall. Centre-backs, not very quick, unless he plays Botman. Botman's not really known for his speed, but he can get going. And he is quite quick. But Sharon Byrne, yeah. Mark says we've been able to handle City's pass style of player, but they aren't able to play that way at the moment. We can get something at City. Gordon doesn't work on the right. Barnes doesn't work on the right. J7 doesn't work on the left. These are all problems that Eddie Howe will have to contend with over the next few games. Kev says the only problem is cover. Murphy gets injured. The first 11 stays the same. Barnes is back soon and will be sub to rotate where needed. Not ideal, but that's what will happen. Agent Texas, I'm going to say it again, Paul. I would sell Barnes this month. He doesn't fit. A lot of people have said that he doesn't fit. And you know what? I'm a little surprised at how much they paid for him. I think that was the thing that got me. 40 million quid. I think it's outrageous, really, for Barnes. I wouldn't have put him at that price level. But look, Newcastle felt he was worth that. And who are we to argue? Simon Muller with a super chat. Thank you, mate. Bakayoko scored against Liverpool last night. Looks a good option on the left. He is a good player. He is a very good player. And the goal he scored last night was superb. Question. When will Botman come back to his position? Byrne is okay, but also very limited. I think Botman's going to play a big part in February. And I think that's why he was left out last week, just to give him that little bit of rest, ready to go again for the big month of February. I think we have to see Botman a lot more, because for me, Botman is standout, our best centre-back. And he's one of the best centre-backs we've seen at the club in a very, very long time. So he has to come in at some point. He can't keep relying on Sharon Byrne. Sharon Byrne, for me, is risky. Is very risky, actually, moving forward. I'd rather see Botman back. Now, who he plays alongside, that is Eddie Howe's decision. But when you have an elite centre-back like we do with Botman, you've got to play him. You've got to play him. And then it's up to Eddie Howe who he partners him with. That's what he's paid the big bucks for, I guess. Kyle says Liverpool will be the toughest one. Seem to be our bogey team like Bournemouth. I'm confident we can exploit City's weaknesses. Steve says we ain't beating City and Liverpool. Do 2 defeats there, in my opinion. Well, nice to see your confidence, Steve. Phil from Canada says, good point on the pass. Man on man is the only solution. Happy birthday for Saturday. Thank you very much. Gordon better on the left wing, definitely not right wing. We need a right wing. This transfer window would be a priority. I agree. And I think we've got to have that, whether it be a loan or a permanent deal. There's something still nagging away at me saying that we will sign somebody. I know there's a lot of you out there that don't agree with that and think, oh, we're not signing anybody this window. What's the bloody point? You know, I understand that, but I also, there's still something in me telling me the club aren't going to take such a huge risk as to not bring anybody in, especially if more leave the club, which we'll come on to in just a moment. Mark says he's very nervous for the Arsenal game. David says, I saw us win the Fairs Cup as a kid. Now hope to see our next cup as a pensioner. Wow. I mean, that literally describes how long it is since we've won a trophy. And it's hurting Newcastle United fans. It's painful right now. John says we are taking a huge risk if we don't add to the squad. Expect us to wait to the summer now, but hope I'm wrong. Well, the summer's going to be big. Newcastle hierarchy, you've already said it's going to be big. And big as in a way of maybe transforming the whole season for the season to come. Sorry, not this season, obviously, but for the season to come. Very exciting. Very, very exciting. I think everybody just wants to see us back in the Champions League and bringing all these fantastic players in. I think that's what it's all about. Callum Wilkinson is celebrating being a member for 6 months on the channel. Thank you very much for your support, Callum. Really appreciate that. David says, have you seen the YouTube footage of the ref VAR convo on the Gordon goal versus Arsenal? Trying to nitpick at its best. They always do, David. They always do. Kev says with Tonali, we can do the pass thingy more now. Well, listen, one thing that we are so good at is you know, remember a couple of seasons ago, we used to sort of say, God, we're so slow. You know, we're so slow the way we pass the ball around. There's no movement. It's completely different now. And that's down to Eddie Howe, in fairness. He's changed all of that mindset. And to the point now where we're so good knocking it around first time, passing in triangles and passing and moving. And some of the players, for me, just still need that little jump to get up to that level. But the fact that we're doing it is the big thing for me. And we're causing teams all sorts of problems whilst we're doing it. Chris says, do we need a centre forward in this window in case Isak gets injured? I would love to see us bring a centre forward in, but I think the right side is probably more important, or someone that can play both. Brian and Buemo, for instance, who can play right wing and striker. Somebody of that ilk would certainly, I'd certainly feel comfortable having someone like that in the side to step in should we get any injuries. Choppy says, I heard Jonathan David is out of contract in the summer. He is, but Tottenham are trying to make a late move for him this month. There's a lot of reports kicking around this morning that they're trying to hijack the Newcastle deal for the summer by bringing him in this winter transfer window. So it's certainly one to keep an eye on. Whether Newcastle United would jump and try and sign him in January if Tottenham wanted him, then we'll see. We'll see. Julie J says she watched Jonathan David yesterday. He fit in with us very well. Yes. Yep. John says Keith Downey believes we will keep the powder dry till the summer. Talking to Dad and the lads last night. Yes, there is a possibility. And I did watch the show. Obviously, Keith joined the Loaded lads. And, you know, I think it's interesting that he thinks he'll keep the powder dry. A lot of journalists do think that. But, you know, I'm still on the fence of saying never say never at the minute, because I still don't think Newcastle United would take such a risk. I still think they've got targets that they would try and bring in the January window. I know, you know, we're running out of time now. It's Friday tomorrow. You know, he's got the press conference. He's got the build up to the game against Fulham. But what you have to remember here, guys, is when you say that, oh, nothing gets done over a weekend, you don't know. Because Eddie Howe won't be dealing with the transfers. He will have been briefed, and he will have spoken to Mitchell about players that Newcastle United do have on the list of players that they've done the groundwork on. But Eddie Howe won't be controlling any of that. So it doesn't matter whether we're playing or not. It doesn't stop anything happening with regards to a player certainly coming in. I mean, look at Villa last night. Duran was on the bench last night for Villa. He's now in London, almost transferred to Saudi. So that work would have gone on last night behind the scenes. I still find that incredible, that transfer, by the way. And if we were picked up regarding the ASM fee that we got from Saudi, then it's amazing, isn't it? Just incredible. We get what we think is undervalue for Maxi. Yet Duran 77 million. Wow. I mean, it's incredible, isn't it? Davey says, Paul, as you said, getting in the Champions League is massive. No signings as of the 30th of January. Such a gamble. If it goes pear-shaped, Eddie is the one who will get it in the neck. We may get a surprise. Yeah, and that's what I'm hoping for. And look, this is the problem, isn't it? Because people will immediately turn to Eddie and say, well, why has Eddie not brought anybody in? And it's not necessarily up to Eddie. Eddie's already stated that he would like to bring at least one player in every transfer window to keep that rotation of the squad going and keep the competitive nature of the squad. But Eddie's unfortunately, he's not privy to what's going on behind the scenes with regards to transfers. He has to kind of put that out the back of his mind and get on with other things and get on with the training and get on with the games. This is why Mitchell and his staff were brought in to make sure that, something does happen. But we'll see on transfers, because there is a couple of links this morning. The Matt Targett thing to Leeds, there's reports saying that Leeds are prepared to bid for him. Then there's other people now saying that Leeds United are not going to be going for Matt Targett. So that's still up in the air. Now, this morning as well, Marseille in France have stated an interest in Lloyd Kelly. So Juventus and Marseille now are the two clubs that could be interested in taking Lloyd Kelly away. Sean Longstaff, there's more reports about him linking with Everton and between a 10 million to 12 million pound deal. Now, a lot of people may say that is, 10 to 12, it's not a lot of money. But listen, what you have to think about is with PSR factor in this, it's a pure profit for Sean Longstaff. It's pure profit. So it would enable us to have some more money to go out and buy somebody. But the problem is with all these transfers, they've got to go through before we start looking at players. It's quite clear. Yes, Miggy will be signing for Atlanta as soon as the window opens tomorrow. He's over there now. He said his goodbyes. That's just an announcement ready to happen when the window opens in America. So now you're looking at Matt Targett. You're looking at Lloyd Kelly. You're looking at Longstaff. Who would Newcastle United ship out? If there's a player that they really want to bring in and feel that they need to bring him in this month and not risk losing out to another club, because we've seen that 3 times already in the transfer window with players we've been interested in, and they've all signed under the Man City umbrella. So we have to be quicker in the transfer market. But in order to be quicker, we need the players like Targett gone. Now, Matt Targett, obviously, Leeds United was showing a big interest. And last night, the story was really ramping up that Matt Targett was heading to Leeds. £15 million was the fee. It's come out in the last hour that Leeds United look like they may have backed down from that, depending on which report you read and who you want to believe or not. But the Matt Targett to Leeds for £15 million would have been a pretty good deal for us, given how much Matt Targett's actually played for Newcastle in recent times. I think that would be a fantastic. And I kind of look at the 15 million and I think, wow, 15 million quid, yet they're talking about 10 to 12 for Sean Longstaff. It's crazy. But listen, I've said many times that I think Sean Longstaff would fit with Everton perfectly. I think he would come into that midfield and he'd get a lot of first team football. And I said this on the show last night, that he would get a lot of first team football simply because where Everton are right now, they need to try and change things around a little bit. And whatever you think of Sean, he would probably go to Everton and do a very, very good job for them. But again, it's trying to get these deals done. They have got to be done in order for us to go. We will have that list of players, due diligence done, ready to go, providing we've got the funds available. And I think it very much depends on, who we can get out the door. And you could end up having one of those, situations on deadline day when one of our players is flying out to do something and leave the club, and we're just waiting for that to happen before we fly in another player to arrive at the club. That's generally what might happen. So don't rule out deadline day yet, guys. I know everybody's pretty downbeat and thinking nobody's coming in, but you just don't know, because if Everton do pull the trigger, and they may decide to pull the trigger on deadline day, that might just spark Newcastle into action and think, right, Miggy's gone, Longstaff's gone. We do need to bring a player in. We need squad coverage, but we need to bring in a player who is capable of coming straight into the team, not doing what Eddie does on with certain players from other leagues. But he's got to come in ready to go. And I don't think we can, I think that will be the bullet, because Sean Longstaff, as good as he's been for Newcastle, and I think his time is up now, I do think he as a player might be looking at moving on, because he's at the point in his career now where he wants to play. He doesn't want to sit on the bench. And we know that there's players ahead of him now in that midfield at Newcastle, without a shadow of a doubt. But it's squad depth that might worry Eddie Howe and think, right, if we can't get anybody in, am I willing to lose the likes of Sean Longstaff for the remainder of the season and, make the squad even more threadbare than it is right now? I don't think Eddie does that. So I think certainly with Longstaff, that's a deal that would really have to happen quickly. Everton, if they are seriously interested, pull the trigger, go for him. That will enable us to go and get somebody. Matt Targett, I think the Leeds move would have been perfect for him, in all honesty. I really do. I think Leeds United would have been a great place to go for Matt Targett. He's experienced. He can bring a lot to that Leeds United squad, who want to, of course, be back in the Premier League. So I think Matt Targett would be a fantastic addition. However, it's whether Leeds United are willing to plunge £15 million into a player that hasn't played a lot of games in recent times. So there's all sorts of rumours flicking around. Now, a bit of good news is the training ground looks like that's going to happen. £200 million is what's been banded around, which is incredible. And it's a real good news for the women's team as well, because it looks like they plan on building a women's stadium on that ground as well. So where all the training complex is, they will have a ground for the ladies team to play as well. And it's similar to what Man City have done, because Man City, around the whole area itself, they've got that stadium where the women generally play. They play a few games at the Etihad, of course, and I'm sure that will continue with the Newcastle United ladies, where certain games will be played at wherever we are, whether that be a new stadium or St James's Park. But it's great news. It just means that the club is moving forward. We're a million miles away now from the crap of Mike Ashley days, where we saw players have to go in wheelie bins for ice baths and paddling pools with bubble machines and pretending to be sawn jacuzzis and stuff. It's a million miles away from that. They've spent a fortune on where they are now. But this will take it to an elite world-class level training center. They'll have all the latest technology and all the latest machines to get players fit again and help them with injuries, but also a place where they can go and train and train well despite the weather. They'll have everything they need at that training ground. And it's going to be absolutely incredible. And I can't wait to see that take fruition, because that will make a massive difference to Newcastle United as a football club as well. A superb training complex, and hopefully to go with that, a new ground. Obviously, everybody is itching to find out what this is going to be. They're expected to announce that in March, and it's going to be a huge month to find out if we are getting a new stadium or they plan on revamping St James's Park. Personally, I think they'll go down the line of a new stadium. Possibly around 70 to 75,000, 80,000 capacity, alongside this fantastic new training complex that we're going to get. Bill has signed up for membership. Thank you, Bill. Much appreciated. Really do appreciate your support moving forward, my friend. John says he's very excited about the training ground. The plan sounds fantastic. It does. It really does. And I think that's what us as Newcastle United fans have to be excited about. Just looking at the money that's going to be spent by PIF to develop this football club. We're talking about a huge £200 million training centre and possibly a new stadium. I mean, what more could you ask for as a Newcastle United fan moving forward? It would just be absolutely amazing. And then you'd sort of take a look back at where we've come from over the years and think, wow, look where we are now. But it's all right doing things off the pitch as well, but we have to get it right on the pitch. We have to start bringing some sort of players in. We've got to be positive here. But as normal, PSR fucks it up for everybody and ruins everything. To the point now where we're probably looking at, either Matt Targett or Sean Longstaff going out, or possibly Lloyd Kelly. I mean, Juventus and Marseille seem to be battling out for his signature now. I think either move would be great for Lloyd Kelly, but also great for Newcastle, because if we get a transfer fee for him, we got him for nothing. And he's on decent wages. We know he's on very good wages as well. That comes off the books. That frees up money as well. There's a lot of money there to be made for Newcastle if they do the deals right. But we only have a few days left in the transfer window. And this is why I really push that we need to do things quickly. If it's players going out, let's get that sorted, get the deals done to make sure that we have a little bit of time to bring in players. I'm sure everything is ready. You know, if we do go for a player, therefore the structure will be there to discuss contract with the player, medicals. People will be on standby for medicals, of course, and then we get things done. So I'm hopeful. I don't care what anybody else says. I'm still hopeful that we bring somebody in. Look, news is clicking through all the time, guys, about, you know, Newcastle and our players and et cetera, et cetera. You know, it's going to be one of those things. You'll find that there's a lot of rumors kicking around, and they will only ramp up before the end of the transfer window, guys. We know that. We all know that. But for me, it's exciting. It's still exciting because I still believe we bring somebody in. No matter what anybody says, if we don't, I'm going to be mightily pissed off, because I think we're taking an absolute massive risk by not replacing certain players in the squad. And it might be our downfall for the season. But look, February is massive. March is massive with the announcement of the stadium. We've got a lot to look forward to here. And also hopefully look forward to bringing at least one player in the transfer window. I'm hopeful. I've got fingers. I've got everything bloody crossed that takes place. But we will have to see, is all I can say, guys. It's just see what happens. But we are back tonight at 7 o'clock. We've got the preview of the Fulham game and all the latest news breaking this afternoon. So as usual, if anything does, if there's a massive story breaks, I will go live straight away. If not, we'll see you for the live show at 7 o'clock for all the news, etc. And look forward to the Fulham game. But thank you very much for joining me this lunchtime. It's been a pleasure as usual. Thank you all for your support. Almost 1,300 watching it. You blow me away, honestly. You really do. You know, it's just incredible the amount of people that keep coming back, and it just means that we're doing something right for you as well. I love the interaction now of the live shows instead of videos. Yes, we'll do videos at certain points. Of course we will. But the live shows, we get to all interact with each other and discuss it live. But those people that are watching on a rerun, thank you as well. And it does mean a lot that people are taking the time to watch the rerun and stuff like that. So thank you very much. But we'll be back at 7. Thank you again for watching. Please give it the thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. And of course, subscribe if you're new to the channel. And thank you again to Mamaroo Records for sponsoring the channel. Check them out if you're ever in Whitley Bay. If you can't get in there, check them out online. That's pinned at the top of the description. But have a great afternoon, guys. And we will see you back here again at 7 o'clock. Thank you for watching. And take care, folks.
Come back and check out some green.